This highway has always been a regular commute. At night, you can see the headlights flash in the distance. But this highway holds a horrific tale. It was here on this desolate stretch of highway that 7 men met their demise. Each was shot at close range, their bodies dumped on the side of the road. Fear gripped the community as a new killer seemed to be on the loose. But as the investigation deepened, the shocking truth began to unravel. The victims were all seemingly random: construction workers, truck drivers, people just passing by. The only connection: they had all paid the ultimate price for what might have initially appeared to be a chance encounter. But lurking in the shadows was a killer who had been silently striking, a predator who had managed to evade capture for a long time. And when they finally got close to unmasking the culprit, the revelation sent shockwaves through the nation. For this was no ordinary killer. It was a woman who became known as America's first female serial killer. But her story is much more than that. It's a tale of darkness and despair, a chilling journey into the mind of a monster. Her name was Aileen Wuornos, and she claimed every death was self-defense. But was she a victim of a cruel world, a desperate woman pushed to the edge by a series of unfortunate events? Or was she a cold-blooded predator who hunted down her victims with cunning and precision? Let's find out. Aileen Wuornos was born in 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. But from the moment she entered this world, her life was marred by tragedy. Abandoned by her birth mother, she was raised by her grandparents. Yet even in their care, she did not find solace. Her grandfather was a violent man, and their home was a place of constant fear. By the time Aileen was 11 years old, she had already seen more darkness than anyone should ever witness in a lifetime. As a teenager, she ran away from home and soon found herself on the streets, lost and alone. Forced to fend for herself, she turned to the oldest profession in the book, sex work. It was a brutal world, and Aileen was just another commodity, bought and sold for the pleasure of others. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son, but he was taken away from her and put up for adoption. She fell into a deep depression and descended into a life of petty crimes, drifting from one troubled relationship to the next. Then she met a man named Dick, who introduced her to the world of hustling. Together they traveled from city to city, surviving on the fringes of society until Dick was incarcerated. With no one to hold her back, Aileen went on a killing spree. Between 1989 and 1990, 7 men were found dead along Florida's highways, each shot at close range. Their bodies bore no obvious signs of struggle, suggesting that they had trusted their killers. The police were baffled. How could someone be so precise, so methodical, yet leave no trace? Meanwhile, Aileen had moved to Florida, seeking a fresh start. She started working as a prostitute and quickly gained a reputation as a high-end call girl who demanded top dollar. The authorities had no way of knowing that the very woman they were looking for was living among them, blending in, carrying on with her life as if nothing had happened. But it was only a matter of time before she slipped up. In October 1990, she pawned some items at a local shop, and that was the break the police needed. When the shop owner saw the news reports about the recent killings, he immediately contacted the police. And when the officers arrived, what they found was nothing short of astonishing. The killer was not the monster they had imagined, nor was she the helpless victim. She was both and neither. In a chilling interview from prison, Wuornos spoke about her horrific crimes with a disturbing lack of remorse. She told her interviewer that she had killed in self-defense and had done it again and would do it again. Facing life in prison, Warnes was convicted of 6 counts of murder in the 1992 trial. Her public defender tried to convince the jury that she was innocent, claiming that the evidence against her was weak. However, prosecutors presented a compelling case, painting a picture of a manipulative killer who had lured her victims to secluded areas under the pretense of a date or a ride, and then shot them during the rendezvous. After deliberating for just over 2 hours, the jury rejected the defense's claims, finding Warnes guilty on all counts. The judge, unable to offer leniency, sentenced her to death. On October 9, 2002, Aileen Wuornos was executed by lethal injection. As she approached the execution chamber, she made one last attempt to avoid her fate. She asked the officials to delay the execution because she was going to have a baby, but her pleas were ignored. Before receiving the lethal injection, Wuornos gave her final statement, saying, "I'd like to say I'm sailing with the Rock, and I'll be back like Independence Day with Jesus June, like in the movie Big Mother Ship and all, and we'll be looking like the good guys in the 60s. Fedoras and leather jackets. Yeah, that'll be cool." With that, she was led to the gurney. As the lethal drugs coursed through her veins, ending her life, the question still remained: was she a monster or a woman who had been broken by a lifetime of pain and abuse? Wuornos remains an enigma in true crime history. Was she driven by survival or vengeance? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out more content. Thanks for watching.